Morning, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to WestysAngling. You're joining me at Limbrick Fishery again today, and today's video is just going to be a chilled day's method feeder fishing. I'm going to be continuing to try out the Westies Wafters. Limbricks are predominantly carp stock water, so there's plenty of good carp in here to target on the Wafters, and I'm going to talk you through some of the new gear that I've got and things like that. So just a mega chilled day's fishing, and we're going to see what we catch on the Westies Wafters. Okay folks, so it is chucking it down again this morning. It feels like it is always raining on the channel. Every time I come out fishing, it just seems to be absolutely chucking it down. So I've got the Pentalite brolly shelter set up. The rods that I'm going to be using today are my brand new Korum Opportunist Xtnd rods. Okay, so these are a 2 1/4 test curve, so a fairly heavy rod, but not a full carp rod. They're still a nice specimen rod. And as you can see, the thing that I like about these rods is look at how small they condense down to, because they've got a section here where the bottom of the blank actually goes into the bottom of the rod butt, which is amazing. They're a nice soft rod on the tip, so they've got a nice play in action, and I'll be able to fit these in my travel bag, which is a little bit of a teaser for stuff that's coming next year on the channel. And as you can see, this one's already set up and it's fully extended into 10 foot. So they're a 10 foot 2 1/4 test. What bait am I going to be using today? Well, obviously you know what hook baits we're going to be using. I'm going to be using the Westies Wafters, and I'm going to be using a mix of Xtnd Black Magic 2mm pellets and 2mm F1 sweet, which I've already soaked. They're ready to go on the method feeder. So for any of you that don't know, I am stocking Xtnd products on the website now at www.westysangling.co.uk, as well as my Wafters, so you can pick up a bag of these 2mm pellets if you wanted to. Postage cost me a fortune, guys, so what I've done is if you buy one bag of the pellets, it's £3.99 postage, which is reasonable. If you buy 2 bags of the pellets, it goes up to £6, because Royal Mail are absolute rip-off merchants, and they charge about £9 if the postage goes over 2 kilograms. So it is what it is. I'm not charging you the full amount for the postage. I'm taking some of the hit on that, but that's for me to worry about. So if you want to pick up some pellets, any ground bait and stuff like that, I have got stock on the website. Right, the Westies Wafters. I've got some from batch 1 there, and I've got some from batch 2, which are a little bit lighter. So I'm going to be trying out batch 2 today as well. So as usual, my dad's here fishing with me today. He's fishing with his 10-foot feeder rod. He's just fishing one rod today, and he's using the Westies Wafters as well. So if he catches anything, we'll be able to see that. Like I said, rod pod set up. I just need to put some butt rests on, and I'll give you a closer look at these rods before we get fishing. I'm sorry if it's still a little bit dark on the camera, guys. It is probably about 7:45, and it's still not fully light yet. So we are plummeting into the depths of autumn now, and you can tell by the weather as well. It is absolutely miserable, and it's cold too. So I'm not 100% what the fishing is going to be like today. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure that the fishing will still be good well into November this year. So you can see you get a contrast with the Black Magic pellets and the F1 sweet. Can you see that? Which will look brilliant on the method feeder. So I'm going to tip these out into a bait tub. The ducks know the Xtnd's been mixed, look. Absolute arch nemesis, that duck. The white one. Me and that duck have got beef. I'm going to start by just starting off the swim. I'm going to be fishing there, and I'm going to probably have a rod to the aerator to start with. If we don't pick up anything here in the margin, I'll try over there to that little outcrop of reeds. I just like to put a few pellets in just to get the carp grubbing around straight away. Okay folks, let's have a look at these rods. So I've already put them together. I just need to put some hook lengths on these method feeders. So I'm just going to put the top section on for a second. So what happens is you can see that this collapses right down into the rod butt, and then you just extend it all the way out like a telescopic rod, and then just line it up with your reel and just pull it fairly tight, and there you go. That's your Xtend rod sorted. Just make sure that top section's on right as well. You are on chest cam, so it's a little bit difficult to film. I do like these rods. Got a nice feel to them, nice and light, and they're a nice short rod as well, perfect for these little commercials. Fairly soft tip, nice action to them. They'll have a good play in action then. Right, I'm going to put some hook lengths on. I'm going to be fishing with fairly heavy duty stuff today. 12 pound mainline, 12 pound hook lengths. There's some really good fish in here. Well, I've just seen a carp crash right over into that corner over there. I'll bear that in mind. Right. Okay, so hook lengths on the other one. Just need to put this one on. As always, if you want to know how to tie up your own method feeder hook lengths, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you. I'll also put a link in the description for these Xtend rods if you wanted to have a nosy at them. I'm impressed with them. I think I picked them up for about 40-45 quid, something like that. Very good rod for the money. Well folks, I just noticed a little bit of a kink in my main line, so I've just decided to retie my method feeder on. If you ever find little kinks and stuff like that, don't carry on fishing, sort the problem straight away. That way you know that you're not going to lose any fish. You'll be really mad at yourself if you didn't sort it out. Okay, so I'm going to go with batch 2 on the right hand rod and batch 1 on the left hand rod of the Westies Wafters. If you want to know the difference, batch 1 is slightly more pink and batch 2 is slightly more orange, but they're both salmon pink. I'm just playing about with the colours and the flavours a little bit. Just playing about with the colours a little bit, that's all. Doesn't make too much difference, I've found. So just to keep you all updated as well, my dad went out fishing on his own last week. I had a few jobs to do, so I couldn't make it out fishing with him, but he went to the lakeside and you had a good day on the Westies Wafters, didn't you, Dad? Yeah. You had a good few carp.
12 carp up to double figures.
Yeah, so 12 carp up to double figures.
Pretty steady fruit day.
He had a good session. I was a bit gutted, to be honest with you. He was just popping with fish photo after fish photo after fish photo, and I was like, ah, well, but it is what it is. Sometimes you've got to do jobs, life gets in the way. Like an absolute numpty, I've actually forgotten my method mould. So we're going to have to hand squeeze these on today, which isn't a massive problem, but it's going to be a bit of a pain. So I'll show you what to do if you don't have a method mould. Oh, let's get our pellets. So I'm just going to squeeze a few pellets on the mould itself. Then I'm going to fold my hook length back over and then just use my hand as a mould and force it round like that. Can you see that? So that'll be good enough. The carp aren't bothered about perfection. So make sure my drag's right, feels okay. And I'm just going to swing this first cast under this tree here. It's a good thing about these short rods, very manoeuvrable. You can be really accurate with them. if I get a bite, folks, I'm gonna have to be straight on these rods, because the right hand rod's fishing reasonably tight up to an aerator, and I definitely don't want a fish getting wrapped around that. I am using heavy gear, so I can bully them out if I need to. Same process as the last one on here, and put a few pellets in your palm of your hand like that, cup it to make a bit of a mold shape, and there you go. Have to make do today. So like I said, if I don't get anything close in, I'll try over to the far side and I'll probably clip up. But it's surprising how close the carp come into you here at Limbrick. There we go, folks, we're fishing. Great little rods, them. Let's see if we catch anything. So a little bit of a tip: if you're fishing close up to something like reeds or an aerator, make sure your bait runner drag's fairly tight, because obviously you don't want the fish ripping loads of line off and being able to wrap itself around anything or shoot into some reeds. You want the fish having to fight against the resistance of the rod tip, but obviously you don't want it too tight that all your rod pods are going to get dragged in. So you need to play about with it and make sure you get straight on it. Dad's just had his first bit of a twitch on the tip there. I've had absolutely no indications on my side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these in probably half an hour or so, and then I'm going to try a rod over there to the far margin on the side of the embankment where the reeds are, where I saw a carp crash. Here we are. You can see how these rods have got a nice soft playing action, look. Not like absolute porkers like carp rods. This isn't a massive carp, but it's still putting a nice bend in this 2 1/4 rod. I'm just trying to keep it away from my other line at the moment. Little tight swims like this are where these kind of rods are perfect. If I was using my Grace Prodigy rods here, I'd have no chance. Be in the tree and everything. And this is on the batch 2 Westies Wafter. The slightly more orange ones, more natural coloured. There we go, carp in the net. Nice one as well. Oh, not far off a double. Very typical of Limbrick, this carp. You see how it's a very pale fish. Let's get this rod out of the way. And there's the Westies Wafter in the neck. You see how they kind of activate into a pink colour once they get wet? Absolutely amazing. But it's a lovely Limbrick carp, that. Very pale fish. All the mouths are always in nice condition here as well. Put it back in the net. I think I'm going to have to get myself a small cradle rather than just a normal unhooking mat, especially with fish flapping about everywhere. But my actual carp cradle, the one that I use for carp and cats, is way too big to be bringing out on sessions like this.
They're wet.
Yeah, they do. They go a lot more pink when they're wet. It's hard to see it against my hand. Let me put it on my dad's towel here.
But the others do as well.
Look at that. Beautiful, natural coloured pink wafter. Might even reuse that. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's already bought the wafters as well. Amazingly, they sold out twice in 1 week. Couldn't believe it. And I've had a lot of messages off people since saying how good the sessions that they've had on my wafters have been. Brilliant. Well, let's get that back out. That was to the aerator, that one. Good playing action on them rods, Dad. So obviously this is the first time my dad's seen these rods, and I was playing that fish on them then, and I turned round and he's scrolling on his phone looking at buying some. But we've both been after a set of shorter rods that have still got a nice playing action, and these are perfect. Oh dear. Oops, that was a little bit further than it should have been. So nice and soft, really impressed with them. These are the rods that I had my 20-pound carp on Cudmore. I didn't half struggle to get out of bed this morning. Absolutely pitch black, freezing cold. But you know what, I'm so glad that I did. That first fish there has just made it worth coming out for. And that was another carp crashing down there under that little tree. So I've not had anything down there. I'll literally give this one another 5 minutes, and then I'll cast it over to the far bank over there. I don't think I'll clip up. I'll be able to get it near enough. It's not that far of a cast. And with these little rods, we'll see how they perform on a little bit of a chuck. Oh, bloody hell, that's a good cast. You've literally just got to do a gentle lob with these, because they're fairly sturdy rods. Then folks, it was a violent run. Not a big fish, but another nice one of these Limbrick mirrors. Oh. Ooh. It's got some damage on it, this fish. It's like it's got carpet burns. Look at that. I think that's actually just the veins in the fish. So both fish today have been on batch 2 of Westys Wafters. Probably a good 7 pound, that fish. Look at that, Dad, nice fish. So both fish today have been down that right hand margin near the aerator. That one's shot off. I am lucky that it didn't go around the aerator, to be honest. And that's with the drag on the bait runner fairly high. Putting a fair amount of bait out. The fish at this time of year, folks, don't swap onto ground bait just yet. They're feeding up for the winter, so what you'll find is the carp will increase the feeding activity at this time of year to try and stack on weight for winter. You'll know when it's time to swap onto ground bait and lighter line and all the rest of it when they move out of the margins and they start going into the deeper water, when the temperature starts dropping. Tell you what, folks, I definitely don't have much luck when it comes to the weather. Look at this, hammering it down. So glad that I brought my Pentalite shelter today. Try and keep everything fairly dry. Even though I've seen fish splashing over there, I haven't had any indications on this left hand rod yet, which is odd. Might recast it in about 5 or 10 minutes, because sometimes when you're casting up to reeds and things like that, you can get snagged on like bits of debris on your hook length. So if you find that that's happening, you need to come a little bit further away from the reeds when you're casting, where there won't be as much debris on the bottom. And if I don't get anything there, then I will move over to that far corner. I think probably at this time of year what will happen is the carp will push further out away from the close margins to the far margins, and I think that's probably a lot to do with angling pressure, because it was the same last year here. I had a great session late autumn, and it was all from that far margin. Couldn't get a bite down here. You've just got to try different spots until you find out where the fish are, and then try and fish accurately after that. Weather aside, it's been a good start to the day so far. It's only 9:15, so I've been fishing just over an hour, and I've had 2 nice fish down here, so can't complain with that at this time of year. There's a couple of floats stuck over there. There's one round the branch all the way over on the far side, and there's one down here at the far side to the reeds. Who's trying to cast a float that far? That's what I want to know. What they've probably done is they've probably seen the carp crashing over there and tried to get a float that far. Well, within about 2 minutes, I'm into a fish to that far bank. I knew there was fish down there. I've seen probably 3 fish crash there. Look at this duck here, just stood here watching me. Don't need spectators. Another lovely mirror. Tends to be mostly mirrors here at Limbrick. And we're in. They're not fighting very hard today. They usually absolutely go for it. Don't think this one's woken up yet. It just shows you that sometimes there is an advantage to making sure that you're in the right spot and on the fish. There's the Westies Wafters come out in the net. I've replaced that one this cast. That's on the batch 1. Oh dear. Right, I'm going to get this fish back because it's lively. Oh god, it's flapping about in that net. Yes, epic. On the Westies Wafters. Okay, sneaking in. Get out of my pellets. I've just been saying to my dad, like Trigger's broom, this flask, it's had about 3 new heads, 3 new tops. Luckily you can get Stanley parts quite easy, so I think that's why they give it a lifetime warranty. Dad's into his first fish after a while. It's a babby. I think that's the smallest carp we've caught out of here, Dad.
That's the main thing.
It's a nice fish though. Chunky little mirror carp. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Westies Wafters still in its mouth. Got your wafter back, Dad. The rare commodity. Is it a common or an F1? Looks like an F1. You lost your feeder. It's alright. Is that your lucky feeder?
No, not today.
It's an F1. He's lost his feeder, look. Can't get them anymore, Dad. What are you going to do? The cheap eBay banjo feeders. I'm in, folks. Just got it out of the clip. I'd literally just cast this one into a divot in the far bay. It's giving me head shakes like a small fish. It's been a fairly small stamp today for here. Yeah. This one is not happy. Only doing a short morning today, so it probably won't seem like I'm catching that many fish. It's a nice one. Another lovely mirror. Beauty. All in great condition here. It's nice to see. It's got some carp lice, but it seems to be pretty common everywhere, that. Must be the time of year. had a lot on this last couple of weeks and I just needed to get out on the bank at least for a few hours. Right, let's try this. I'm not clipped up, so it's going to be a pub chuck over to that far bank. Miles away. Needs to be right in that divot over there really, but should be fine. Just think it's amazing how these wafters activate once they've been in the water a while, and they go this lovely bright salmon pink. Perfect colour really for these commercials. All about placement here. Again, this was in that divot in the far bank. This is actually a decent fish, probably the best one of today. It's gone under my other line, which is fine. I need to be careful under the rod tip because it's not as soft as my other rods, this. If you give them too much stick, you pull the hook. Might be a good fish to end on. I think it's a good fish, this. Not happy this one. It's not coming in easy at all. Nice fish. Slightly bigger than the rest, not much though. A little bit darker than the others. Nice fish, really red tail fin. Well, I tell you what folks, I'm impressed with these Korum Opportunist rods. Amazing. Great value for money. Like I said, I think I picked mine up for about 45 quid in a sale. But I think they retail at around 65-ish. Yeah, Korum Opportunist Xtnd they are. And once again, mine are the 10-foot 2¼ test, so they're a nice soft rod. I think they're built for sort of like river fishing, being mobile, that kind of thing, and these fit perfectly into my travel bag, so that's one of the reasons I got them. But they're a nice rod, like I said, well balanced, soft enough that you can play these smaller carp, but I'm sure that they'd handle a bigger carp really well, another species. Okay folks, so I'm going to call it a day there and get packed up. I'm sure that you'll agree, I've had a decent morning session there on the Westies Wafters, so I would say that was a successful trip out and definitely worth coming out for. So I just want to say thanks very much for watching this short video, and I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. Also, don't forget to check out www.westysangling.co.uk for merch, and obviously to buy the wafters and some Xtnd products if you haven't tried them already. So starting to stock a fair few products on the WestysAngling website. So just go and have a nosy at it. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Also folks, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, now's your chance to do so. So hit that subscribe button and also click the bell icon. That way you don't miss another video. I'll see you next time folks.